Welcome back, everybody, to Rob's MetalWorks. We are here at the Paper Tiger. We have returned for one hell of a thrash show tonight. We are supporting Obituary and our boys from Dallas. Yes, Power Trip is here in San Antonio to fuck things up. And we are very proud to have their main axeman, Blake Ibanez, here on the program. Blake, it is my distinct honor to have you on our show, sir.
Thank you.
Let's get started because I think, right now is a very exciting time for Power Trip. You guys have really just kind of blown up this year in 2017 because of your new record, of which we will talk about. But there's still some people out there, young people, older people, who are still learning about the band. Tell us briefly a little bit about the history of Power Trip and how you guys have kind of moved up the ranks.
Yeah, so we started in like 2008, and we've kind of just been doing it since then. I don't know, at different paces over the years. So it kind of started, we were like a hardcore punk band, and we kind of did that whole thing and played those shows all the time. And then we kind of started touring a little bit, and then I went to school for a year, and then we kind of came back. I came back after a year, and I was like, okay, I want to do the band more. So we got Ulsh in the band on drums, and then we kind of did our first record and got signed to Southern Lord, and from there it's just kind of been pretty continuous. But even after the first album, we toured for like a year, and then we kind of just went back to our lives and just continued to kind of do it. And then kind of once this second album cycle came around, I was graduating or getting close to graduating, and we got to tour with Lamb of God and all that. And just from there, ever since that come out and everything, we've just been kind of hitting it. So that's the story of our band.
Yeah, well, let's talk about Manifest Decimation. Your first record came out in 2013, and I kind of noticed that there was that 4-year gap. So it was kind of like everybody was just busy with their lives. Were you guys still active as a band, like rehearsing and practicing, writing for Nightmare Logic at that time?
Well, the funny thing is that we really weren't. we did the album, and then we just kind of played on that for a while, and no one really got tired of it because, lucky for us, we can kind of do like hardcore tours, we can do metal tours. So since we were able to do all these tours, it like kind of stretched that album out a bit, because we did all these tours, we did like hardcore stuff, and then we did a tour with like Anthrax, Lamb of God, and it was all these people that had never even heard that record or didn't even know about us. So it was like a new record. So that kind of made that go a little longer. And then we just, finally found the time, like, okay, we should do another record. And then by that point, we had enough stuff, or I had enough stuff kind of written. And then we just kind of got together, me and Ulsh, and just kind of put pen to paper and finally just wrote it. And it really didn't take a long time to write. So that's it. Yeah, sorry.
Let's talk a little bit about musically. People, when they first hear, any of your two records will think, Power Trip's a thrash band. Yeah. But obviously you guys are also a little deeper than that. There's lots of elements of different heaviness in there. Some people say, there's some punk in there and there's hardcore in there. What do you tell people?
Yeah, I mean, probably that. I don't know. I mean, it's not really as deliberate as some people might think. I think some bands go out and they're like, we're gonna sound like Slayer, or we're gonna sound like Metallica, and it's not really like that with us. It's like, I mean, yeah, there are bands like, classic records that we all loved and have loved over the years that, seeps in everything. But I mean, it really just comes down to like what sounds good, and like I think all of our influences, at least the stuff I'm influenced by, like kind of is all at this point, it all kind of came together, because I'm always kind of trying to find the common link between sounds and bands. So it's like, some people might not think that there's similarities between Motorhead and Cro-Mags. I mean, some people probably can figure it out, but stuff like that, and Metallica and Motorhead, or Metallica and even Cro-Mags, so there's all these kind of hidden links, as someone in the 21st century can kind of look back and see what all these bands did. And it's kind of cool that we're at the point, in this day and age, where we can do that, and we can mix all these styles together that maybe weren't mixed. Not to say that we're doing anything like brand new, but the style that we have is just certain pieces from different kinds of bands that I kind of like and that we like, and it kind of all comes together. So it kind of feels good at this point to be writing music that feels like it's a bunch of things together. It's not just one. We're not trying to imitate one band or anything. You know, you can pick stuff out here and there, I think, but overall, I think it's a good mix.
I think that's the beautiful thing too, because you guys are fairly young guys, so and as musicians are able to kind of choose from a wide palette of heavy, brutal history to formulate your sound, and people have obviously come forward and really enjoyed it. Let's talk about your new record. Nightmare Logic came out on Southern Lord Records. All you people out there who do not yet have it, be sure to look for it. It's called Nightmare Logic. Download it tonight on iTunes and jam it right after you see this interview. It's definitely a brutal and a record that has gained so much acclaim for the band. When you guys released Nightmare Logic back in February, were you guys anticipating that it was going to take off like it has?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all liked it a lot, and we were confident about it. And I think this record got a lot more push. You know, especially we were coming off a lot of touring, kind of, I guess, over the years leading up to it. So we knew it would make a bigger splash. But I think maybe some of the things that people didn't like about the last record, or maybe weren't sure about, I think we kind of made an effort to clean up a little bit, and to we wanted it to seem like a big boy album, you know? So first album was more of like I wouldn't say it was an experiment, but we were more like, just do whatever we want, make it sound however we want, and kind of make a statement about like what we want our sound to be, you know? So it's like we didn't, you know, mince words or anything, or like we didn't, you know, our record didn't sound like a really safe album, you know? It was kind of sonically pretty crazy, and I think a lot of people like that. Some people didn't like it, but I think over the years people learned to appreciate it, and now we kind of, on this record, it's a little, you know, it's tighter. We just, you know, we've grown a lot as musicians, and we had more time to work on it. So I think through that, people can kind of look back at the last record and be like, okay, yeah, I see like where they were going with that, and I get it now, and they know that, you know, what we're capable of. So I think it's cool. I'm happy that people like it, and that it's done well. So. It's,
you know, a Nightmare Logic, obviously, and I think probably due to the length of the time span between the debut, is a step up for the band musically too. It's the songs on Nightmare Logic are a little bit more complex. Your solo work's a little bit more advanced. You know, talk a little bit. I mean, how do you kind of feel that the band is kind of elevated in doing what they're doing?
Well, you know, I mean, yeah, the solo work's about as advanced as it's gonna get. Maybe.
Don't say that.
Nah, it you know, we all, you know, get better all the time. So, you know, we just learn what I think. On this album, we learned, or, you know, at least, you know, me and Ulsh I think we know what we're good at and what we're not good at, and what we can kind of pull off. So, yeah, it was a lot easier in terms of writing the songs, because it was like, what kind of songs do we like to write? What you know, the audience react best to, you know, like stuff like that. So, you know, when you tour on an album for like 4 years like we did and play all these songs, it's like you can kind of figure that out. So when I was writing it, I was like, I knew, okay, that's not going to work. This could work. And it really wasn't that hard. I mean, like, you know, a lot, like I said, over the years, I just kind of written stuff here and there. And once we got together, I mean, it was like, I think less than 2 weeks, we just kind of we put it all together. So, and then we worked on it more in the studio. But yeah, I mean, we've grown a lot of musicians, no doubt about it. You know, like Ulsh had only been drumming in our band for like a year or two when we did our last record. We had like barely any time to record it. You know, so it was just a lot, we were a lot more amateurs back then, but now I think we're more confident, you know, especially going in the studio. I mean, you learn something every time you go in the studio. You know, you learn about what you can do and what you can, and mistakes you made before. So this time it was a lot. It was still, you know, there's always things you run into when you record, like things that you do. I should have done that differently. You got to go back and you got to, you know, make things the way you wanted it originally. But overall, I think we've come a long way. So the next record, I think, will be a lot easier, because we actually just recorded a new song last month. Whoa. And it was a lot easier, because we just kind of knew what we wanted to do. We knew how to do it, and it was a lot quicker. So.
On that note, is that new song going to be released as a single, or is that for the new record? Tell us. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure. Whatever. I think it's for like a. All I'll say is it's for like a special singles program with a bunch of bands recording new songs. So that's like a new song for that. We did recorded something else that's going to be on like that might be on a record with it or something. So that will probably, more info of that will come out like in the next few months, I'm sure. But yeah, so.
A couple other little back-end questions on the record, Blake. First of all, obviously, fans can tell that there's an elevation in the production for Nightmare Logic. Talk a little bit about the production for this record. Where did you guys do it, and who manned the production duties and stuff like that?
So we did it at the studio in Argyle, which is just right outside of Denton, which is like a college town that I used to live in. And Riley went to school there, Nick and Chris live there, so we did it at this place called the Echo Lab, and it's like a really cool studio out in the wilderness, and it's like bands from Dallas record there, like True Widow and over the years Death Ray Davies, all these Dallas bands, and we worked with Arthur Rizk, who's like our guy who did our last record, like our producer, and he kind of co-engineered it as well, and he mixed it, and then this guy Matthew Barnhart actually helped engineer it too, and he's a really cool dude who works for Chicago Mastering Service and does front of house for lots of great bands and stuff on tour. So he helped, and he's kind of like not a metal guy, so his perspective was cool in terms of just what sounds good, and working our way around the studio, because the studio was like analog and digital. We went digital, but that's who worked on it, and then Arthur mixed it. I think at a couple different studios in Philly, and then we had Joel from Toxic Holocaust who mastered it.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah, Joel Grind. He's
Cool.
He's been doing a lot of mastering and working on like cool bands records. So we got him on board, and he did a good job. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
And last is
sorry. And then I always forget because we just recorded. Yeah, on that record, we also had our friend Daniel Schmuck, who's this guy who's recorded some of our old stuff. He actually helped us record some stuff on this record. It was like we did some vocals with him, we did some leads with him, because he also had a studio in Argyle as well. Yeah. So we needed to lay down some stuff, and he has this little house and this little studio, so he helped us out, and we finished with him. So forgot about that.
Let's talk about Southern Lord Recordings, the label that you guys are on. How many more records do you have to do for the label at this point? Will the new record be on Southern Lord too?
Yeah, like the next one.
Yeah.
We're not sure yet. I think originally it may be planned that it will be, but we're not sure yet. I think
I would imagine because of the success of Nightmare Logic that there's lots of labels out there banging on the door.
We don't know yet, so that's like pretty far away. We haven't really thought about it yet, but we love Southern Lord's been good to us, and Greg's done a good job with our records, and we're happy. So I don't know. That's kind of far down the road. We don't know yet, but who knows.
So the record came out in February. You guys have obviously been out there supporting as we enter the fall here in October. You guys have been on the road with Obituary on the Battle of the Bays tour. All you people out there who've seen it know what I'm talking about. How's this tour been treating Power Trip with Obituary?
Oh, it's like our favorite tour.
Really?
Yeah, in our whole career as a band. Yeah, I mean, we rarely get to tour with like a band that we truly love. No offense to all the bands we tour with, but we all have like our own tastes. Yeah, we're all different musically. We all like different stuff, in our band. But we definitely, Exodus is a big influence on everything I write and everything we do, and we all love those records. And Obituary we all love too. I mean, it's like two bands that we collectively all like love and respect a lot. And then on top of that, the guys in the band are both guys in both bands are awesome. Yeah, they're like all really cool. Even
cool.
They're way older than us, but they're really nice. They're really cool, really supportive of us, and they've been great to hang out with. Like, we're pretty sad that it's coming to an end, but then the crew has been awesome. Like, everybody's been great. So it's definitely our favorite tour. Definitely. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you guys are at the top of the heap of the next gen of bands who will continue the legacy of heavy music in this country. Obviously, 2017 has seen a lot of acclaim for Nightmare Logic and the band. I heard that you guys will be performing at the Loudwire Music Awards, and you guys got nominated for like Best Act, Best Song, Best Record. You guys are all over the place. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, you know, I don't really know much about Loudwire. I know
they're
that.
very nationally recognized.
Yeah. So we know some people from there now, and they've been really cool and obviously supportive of the new album. And yeah, we got nominated for some awards. I don't know if we won anything, but we're performing there, and we're gonna do a couple songs. We're gonna do a cover, and we might have a special guest on stage with us.
Spill the beans.
Yeah, so it's gonna be cool. I think it's in like 2 weeks. It's on my birthday, actually, is the day. So it'll be cool. Hopefully, you know, I think like Tony Iommi is gonna be there, like Halford, like Dave Mustaine. So it'd be cool to run into one of those guys.
You got to take a picture with Mustaine, man.
Yeah.
Let me see it.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you this. I'm just from what I know. You know, if they ask you to perform, it's almost certain that you're gonna win something.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because they asked us to perform a long time ago before the voting began. So I don't know if yeah, you know, I mean that'd be cool, but we have no idea. I think they tell you like the day of if you want anything. So we'll see. Yeah, it'd be cool if it happened, but there's some steep competition. It's like Metallica and you know, Obituary is nominated for one, like you know, lots of bands. So we'll see.
I have to ask you, you guys were slated to play the Houston Open Air Show back at the beginning of September. Obviously, we all know what happened with Harvey, Hurricane Harvey hitting Houston. So obviously, you know, that whole event got thrown under. And the Houston Open Air is a really, really big, cool event. And, you know, I have to ask you, just because, you know, you are a Texas musician and a band from Texas, you know, how do you kind of feel about what those people have been going through?
Oh, I mean, it's terrible. I mean, we you know, when it all happened, they contacted all the bands, and I think they were saying that they were going to try to still have it, and we're asking bands if they would play and donate their fee to the cause.
Yeah.
And we were like, of course, you know, we would love to play and support all the people and everything they've gone through, you know, and donate any way we can. But I think just because of all the damage and all the people that can't make it anymore and all that, I think they decided just not go through with it, which sucks, but it is what it is. So we're sad that we can't, you know, participate in like an effort to donate money or anything. But we're playing Houston in actually like a few weeks, I think, on the Cannibal Corpse tour. Nice. So you know, if there's anything we can do then, I hopefully we can make something happen. But yeah, it's a bummer. I hope everybody that, you know, that was affected there gets help and, you know, is on the way to get yeah, exactly.
Let's talk about, you alluded right now to the Cannibal Corpse tour. What does the rest of the fall of 2017 hold for the band, or even things next year?
Well, right now, yeah, we have the Cannibal Corpse tour that we leave for, and like I think we get home tomorrow, and then
is that a North American tour?
Yeah, we leave for that like November 3rd, and it goes from like Florida through Texas. It goes everywhere. It's like another U.S. tour, but this tour was more of I guess B markets and little smaller cities, which is still great, but we're gonna do mostly just big cities on that one, so that'd be cool.
Bigger venues.
Yeah, I think they're either the same size or maybe a little bit bigger, from what I hear. I don't know. So that'll be good. But yeah, it'll be cool because we're basically going a lot of places we didn't get to go. We're playing some of the same places, but a lot of places we haven't been. So it'd be cool. Yeah.
You guys released some really cool videos, and I noticed that, you know, most of the kind of power trip videos that we see you guys playing live and thrashing, that's what we want to see. Yeah. Are you guys doing any like audio recordings or live recordings on these tours, or planning any?
We haven't done any planned. There's been some that have been recorded, and I think we want to try to do something like a live release or something, because people like, you know, the live show is just a different experience. But nothing planned right now. Maybe in the future, I think we're going to try to do something like that, because we've been recorded live a few times and it's come out really cool. So it'd be cool to make that happen, you know. Anything else we can get out, you know, while we're not putting out another record would be cool. So hopefully, yeah.
Blake, you know, I appreciate your time and everything that you're giving us in this interview. Just a couple of more questions, man, before I end. One is, obviously, you know, there's a lot of musicians who watch our program. You know, I was telling you off camera, I'm a huge fan of yours, and I love your guitar playing. Talk a little bit about your guitars. I've seen you play the Jackson Offset V. Has anybody come knocking on the door saying, "Hey, Blake, you know, you want to endorse our guitar?" Talk a little bit about that.
Well, yeah, actually, I already am. Like, I got a deal with Jackson. So, I mean, I don't know if you'd call it a deal, but they're really cool. Yeah, our manager actually works with Dave from Megadeth, and he's like has a, you know, whole bass thing over there. So he's really they're all really cool, and he's put me in touch with Jackson, and they kind of got me another guitar, and they've been really cool, and it's cool to be included with all those bands. You know, they have a really good roster, and I've just always played those Randy Rhoads guitars.
Yeah.
The one I have now is an RO1, and it's like I think it's like one of the nicest ones they make, and I got it used, but it's still great. You know,
Which one did they send you?
I got a RR Pro Series. I think that's just what it is. It's like it's silver. No, it's silver,
oh, cool.
And it's a great guitar.
You gonna throw down with it tonight?
Well, I do play it sometimes. I have my RR1's my main guitar, but that's my backup, so it's always there.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
My RR1, I mean, it's just the custom Jacksons. They're just made so well. They're like, I mean, not that the other one isn't, but it's got a big body, it's thick, and it's just got this really nice fretboard, and I love that guitar. It sounds amazing. So I got that, and I use Lace Pickups as a company me, Nick, and Chris all use. I think Olsh, actually, he's in another band, and he uses them in that band too. But yeah, they're a great company. They've always been supportive of us, even since, you know, before this album and everything. And they make great pickups. I don't know, the ones I have are the Dropping Games, and they're really clear. They're good. I don't know a lot about pickups, but I know they sound good, and we like them. So that's what we use. That's what I play.
Well, congratulations, man. Congratulations. That's awesome. Lots of great historical metal artists on Jackson guitars. Has that always kind of been your axe of choice?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I've played other guitars, and I mean, I love all kinds of guitars for other kinds of music and stuff too. But for what we do, I mean, I've always liked the Rhodes. The Jackson's just, you know, I like the look. They feel good.
Yeah.
I've played other kinds of guitars too, guitars, but
always looks cool.
yeah, I just, you know, I started playing it, and then after a while, I'm like, I can't imagine not playing it. I got used to the body shape and just how it feels, and it would just be weird to play anything else.
Nice.
So that's what I play. Yeah.
Let's lastly talk about, obviously, where you're from, the Dallas metal scene. You know, a lot of, especially us Texans, we know a lot about the Texas metal scene. Obviously, you know, Pantera, the Legends, but, you know, we've seen, you know, Rigor Mortis, the Legends, also continue to work, and now come to the demise, Gamma Side. Lots of great metal bands from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. You guys came up in that scene, and are kind of now the big success story out of that scene. Talk a little bit about the Dallas metal scene coming up a little bit, and now even when you go back.
It's weird. Yeah, I mean, the scene is like, I don't know. There's like I guess there's a Dallas metal scene maybe. I mean, there is, but we didn't come up in that. So, you know, I've gone to metal shows over the years here and there. We came up through the hardcore scene, which has, you know, gone through different cycles of, you know, popularity. I think when we started, it was about 07, things were pretty down, I think, for the most part. Some of the venues been shut down and stuff, and it was just things were shifting, I think, in hardcore music in general and just stylistically. And then around 08, and we started, and things just kind of started to pick up. And I think there's the hardcore scene is still pretty big over there. But yeah, we still play with those bands. I don't know, it's weird because there is a metal scene in Dallas, and it's kind of strange for people to hear that, because it's like, well, you come from Dallas, you must know about the Dallas metal scene. It's we don't really, like, I mean, and it's funny because the people in the metal scene must be like, why don't we know them? Like, they're a metal band and they're on tour with all these metal bands. But I think some of them probably know about us by now because we played a lot. But it is kind of weird. It's kind of split up, and people don't. I mean, I think it's kind of interesting if you think about it, because it's like we come from this hardcore scene, and we're like, I guess now we're essentially considered a metal band. But yeah, it's weird. I think about that sometimes. I'm just like, they must think it's kind of strange that we're like not super associated with the metal scene in Dallas. But we have friends, you know, in Dallas that have been part of the metal scene forever, like the people who run Born Late Records and Tattoos, like Brittany, Henry, and John from Solitude Eternus. I mean, all those people, everybody we've met has been really cool. You know, I don't know anybody from Rigor Mortis personally. I think some of the guys have met some of them before, and it sucks to hear they broke up, Rigor Mortis and Warbeast, and stuff like that. So it sucks to hear, but you know, I wonder, I hope they know about us. It'd be cool. But yeah, it's kind of weird. It's like everything's kind of split up a little bit, but that's how it is, you know, hardcore metal and punk. It's like, you know, sometimes it comes together, but most of the time it's pretty separated. So, yeah.
Blake, I want to thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Great interview tonight. Thank you for sharing so much. I wanted this interview. Thank you for giving it to us, man. Any last words? Anything that we should have talked about that we didn't? Anything you want to share with fans around the world who will see this interview?
I don't know. Thank you for checking us out and listening to us and supporting the bands. And hopefully we can keep cranking out the tunes. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Man, I am so looking forward to seeing you throw down tonight here at the Paper Tiger. God, I can't fucking wait. Remember, everyone out there, the brand new one from the band is called Nightmare Logic, out on Southern Lord Records. Be sure to go online right now and get it into your phone, into your computers, and rock the fuck out of it. You saw the man, Blake Ibanez of the band, only right here on Rob's MetalWorks.